And they say that a hero can save us. I'm not gonna stand here and wait. I am so high, I can hear heaven. And I am so high, I can hear heaven. But heaven, heaven don't hear me. And they say that a hero can save us. I'm not gonna stand here and wait. I'll hold on to the wings of the eagles, watch as we all fly away. Someone told me love would all save us. But how can that be? Look what love made us. A world full of killing and blood spilling. That world never came. And they say that a hero can save us. I'm not gonna stand here and wait. I'll hold on to the wings of the eagles, watch as we all fly away. To you, it isn't the love of a hero, and that's why I fear it won't do. And they say that a hero can save us. I'm not gonna stand here and wait. I'll hold on to the wings of the eagles, as we all fly away. And they say that a hero will save us. I'm not gonna stand here and just wait. I'll hold on to the wings of the eagles, watch as we all fly away. And they're watching us, they're watching us as we all fly away.
Hey everybody, welcome to Gootz's Isn't He Pod. I'm your host, Ray Gootz, another edition of the show. Hey, we're in Spiderman season. I know I said we was going to have Keanu this week, but nah, she fucking, I don't know what the fuck she's doing. But instead I got Christina Galston. What's up, Christina?
What's up? Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for doing the show.
I love doing this show.
It was, the last episode was fire. The Little Mermaid.
Yes, and I still want to record another mermaid episode just because I feel like the mermaids are me. I got to talk about the mermaids.
No, we will get to talk. But once we get to the sequel season, I'm going to have you back.
Yes, I love that.
To represent the Littlest Mermaid.
Yes.
And also the remake when that shit comes out.
Absolutely.
It's going to be bad.
Badass.
You think it's going to be good?
In an awesomely bad way, which is,
Probably.
as you know, my favorite way to watch a movie.
I hear you. Oh, shit. I thought that was that guy backing up again. Okay.
Oh, shit.
He's back. Hey, I got into 5 car accidents. So Christine, the last time you were on was March of 2020.
Yes.
What have you been up to since then?
Since then, the pandemic happened, as you know, and
Still
happening. We're still in it, and since the pandemic, I tore my ACL, my MCL, and my meniscus all at one time on a trampoline accident. Turns out you can't be 35 on a trampoline. That's actually not on the warning label, but should be. Mm-hmm. And since then, I was just like trying to walk again and shit. And, I went to Puerto Rico for a little bit to try to get knee surgery since I got covered out there. That didn't happen, and now I'm back.
Back in the streets.
Back in the streets, one knee, but back in these streets.
But you recorded some stuff for Comedy Central recently, right?
I did a few weeks ago. It was so awesome. There's some new half hours coming out, and a lot of, some of my very funny friends, people that we know, people that I don't know. Lots of talented, funny people doing some features and some new half hours that I got to be a part of. It was awesome.
That's fucking dope. Yeah, I was really proud of you that you got to do that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that was fucking good. Whatchamacallit? Yeah, it's so funny because like your episode, like on the show, like there's no mention of the pandemic, and then your episode hits, and we're like, yeah, things are starting to shut down. Who knows? And then the show becomes nothing but the pandemic with like comedians.
Right, and then I'm back, and I'm like, wow, that was crazy, and it's crazy that we're still in it.
We're still in it, but we're just ignoring it now.
Yeah,
now we're just ignoring it.
Well, unless we have to do something for it. Like tomorrow is my second shot, so tomorrow's gonna be a Corona day for me, I guess.
Oh, you're gonna be sick. You're gonna be like, Ray!
Yeah, tomorrow you're gonna have to take care of me. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, well, okay. Yeah, that's true. but like now we're just ignoring it. But it's still happening.
It is still upon us. The government has not let us know yet if they're done killing us.
No, they're not.
Right. They haven't put out their purge world order yet.
Yeah, no, they're still fucking killing all of us, and except now we get to go out.
Right, and there's a lot of outdoor vestibules. I never know how to say those things. Vestibules. There's a lot of outdoor of those, and so you can just be outdoors with your family. You know what I mean? Enjoying a meal right next to somewhere where I probably will be popping a squat or lighting up a blunt. You know,
a lot more blunt. I feel like a lot more people smoke weed now.
Yeah, it seems super chill here. I was smoking with some comics and a cop went by and I was like freaking the fuck out, like, am I gonna have to eat this blunt? And Matt Richards is like, yo, chill, it's completely legal here, like you don't have to trip. I'm like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, no,
I didn't know. I don't know.
Things are more chill when it comes to weed. But yo, let's talk about the year 2002. We are up to the first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire. Christina, you're not into comic books, right? Not
crazy style, no. Will I watch the movie? More than likely, because there's going to be some kids in my family that want to see it. Mm-hmm. Will I wear some of the gear? Sure, why not? It's something that we all know. Everyone can recognize Spider-Man.
Yeah, you can't run from superheroes anymore.
You can't be like, I don't know, Spider Dude. I don't even know what they call him. You could never pretend to not know who the hell it is.
You used to be able to pull that off. Like, X-Men. I don't know what that is.
No one knows what that is, guy. It's like,
why don't you guys go get laid? And
it's like, have you heard of any movie ever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's like, now you can't escape superheroes.
I feel like I'm constantly, for any movie that's on, I'm always like, which one is the, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's never,
there's so
there
many,
is no longer, like, remember when X-Men just made, and it was like, the X-Men movie, the Spider-Man movie, the Superman movie. It's like, wait, which one is this? From when? Who's in this one again?
Yo, it's so funny because, like, I'm going over the names of all the Spider-Man films, and if you don't know anything about Spider-Man, I can imagine being so confusing because it goes Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, The Amazing Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2,
The Amazings are their own thing.
Yeah, they are. Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So you're just like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
it's a lot.
It's if you don't know what's going on, it's fucking confusing.
Trying to explain Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse to somebody, like, that was the cartoon.
That's the cartoon.
Yeah. Like trying to explain that to somebody was like, that doesn't know Spider-Man. You're talking Chinese.
And that's the thing. That's the weird thing. Is Spider-Man always was just like street level. Like you saw in this movie, they really emphasized New York.
Yeah.
He's always like street level.
This is walking the beat Spider-Man.
Yeah.
This Spider-Man was walking the beat.
He handles drug dealers and gun runners.
Yeah.
And even the criminals are like
the most New York of the new. Every character in here was more New York than the last character.
Yeah, but now like they're trying to do like different. He goes into different dimensions.
Yeah,
there's different worlds, and like that shit was never Now they're trying to make that Spider-Man.
Yeah, but see, I like that the first Spider-Man is like that because
that's how it always should.
That's his background. You know what I mean? Them streets. Spider-Man has always been in these mean streets. Of what was it? It was filmed in Queens, right?
Queens.
This one.
He's from Forest Hills.
Forest Hills. Check it out. Look at that.
Not Astoria because he's a pussy.
Right.
So, what'd you think of the first Spider-Man movie before we get into it?
I remember seeing it before. I'm a huge fan of early James Franco. So delicious to me. Also, Kirsten Dunst has some great tits. You know what I mean? You get to see them
she
a
shows
lot.
them a lot.
A lot. There's a
didn't
lot of
realize
bouncing. There's a lot of. This is early Kirsten
She's showing her
Dunst
nipples?
too. Yeah, the nipples. You see the nipples. This is early Kirsten Dunst, which I fuck with. Tobey Maguire. I thought he did a great job. You know, this is when you watch it back as a 35-year-old person. You know what I'm saying? I'm watching it now and I'm just like, damn, they are not high school age. Like they
No.
do not. These are some old ass bitches.
No.
And they're playing high schoolers, but it's cool.
Well, we're gonna break it down like we did Little Mermaid in a second, but like I remember seeing this movie in theaters in 2002 with my mom, and I was the only one with my mom, and I'll never forget.
You were the only one in the movie theaters with
But
your
it was
mom.
during the day, and it was packed.
Okay.
It was packed. But it was all nerds.
Right.
And I loved Spider-Man my entire life since I was a kid, and but the trailer for Hulk, when nobody knew that movie was gonna suck. There was a Hulk movie in 2003. Trailer for Hulk came on. The entire place exploded
Oh my
with
God.
cheers. Then a baby started crying. The movie started, and some guy says, "You better shut that baby the fuck up!" And they left with the baby, and everyone was like, "Yeah!" Because everyone like, see, I don't think people understand the, especially like, if you were like I'm 40 right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you were like 30 or 40 back then, you went your entire life without seeing any of this shit on the big screen.
Right.
So
And it's the first time that it's
first
happening.
time,
And
you
it's
don't
so,
even know if it's gonna happen again.
It's so big at this point. Like
Yeah.
in 2002, like this is we're like, wow, mind's blown.
Yeah, so
at these effects.
So like now, like I feel like a lot of these guys have confidence and they like kind of like flex. You can kind of get away with like being really into comics and like still like girls being into you and just being like that's. Back then you couldn't. So like they were desperate for this shit. So there was like this really sense of finally here it is, and everyone loved it. I loved it when I first saw it. I didn't. Okay, that's a weird thing to say. I kind of loved it. I loved it because I finally got to see Spider-Man. It wasn't exactly what I would have done back then, but looking back now, watching it with you now, so many people grew up on this movie. Like that's the reason I was gonna have Keanu on this movie, because she grew up with it. This is her favorite superhero movie. But then she did what she had to do. But like fucking, so many people grew up in this movie, and like there's so many memes about this movie now, and there's so many like the nostalgia for this movie is so heavy. Like I think it's better with age. It's better with age is what I'm trying to say. It's better now than it was in 2002. I don't know if you agree with that.
I do.
Yeah.
I do agree with it. I mean, this movie wasn't high on my radar, but watching it now, I liked it. It did what it needed to do as far as the first Spider-Man film. Like it was not bad. I mean, when looking at some of the effects now, yeah, of course, you're like, oh Lord.
But even like the stuff I thought wasn't going to age well, it like really captures. You know what it really captures? 2002, because 2002, everyone was fucking with New York because people wanted to. Because of what happened 9/11.
Of course.
So everybody had to say how much they love New York.
Yeah, of course.
So this movie is very like, New York is the fucking best.
Yeah.
Which nobody feels that way anymore. And it just really, it was, even like the end credit music, like it was just, it's peak 2002.
Yeah.
That's my thing with this film.
Yeah.
And there's so many actors in it that bit. Elizabeth Banks, Octavia.
Elizabeth Banks. We see Octavia Spencer. Definitely people I wouldn't have even remembered were in that
Octavia
movie
Spencer, Venus. Yeah.
at all.
Mhm.
I would never have remembered that they were in the movie until I just saw it again right now.
Yeah. And like there were other Superman, like they put out X-Men, but that X-Men movie does not hold up. The original one from 2000. I don't know if you remember that one where they're on the Statue of Liberty, Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. Yeah.
That one doesn't really hold up. That's kind of corny. This is not corny. This is corny in parts, but it's not overall corny.
Yeah. I feel like when you don't know the movies and they come on, you're like, I don't know. Do I like this one? Is this the one that I like? Oh, never mind. This isn't the one that I like.
Yeah,
that's the one that wasn't that great.
This is one, and I kind of feel like if this sucked, you wouldn't get the Marvel movies now, or the Dark Knight with the Joker, or any of that.
Right.
But this movie was like good enough that like it popped off every other superhero movie.
But these were big stars. I mean, Tobey Maguire at the time.
Oh yeah,
Kirsten
he was
Dunst.
a big star.
We were-
William Dafoe.
Yeah, we were talking about how, and remember in 2002, the MTV Movie Awards was still a huge thing, and so yeah, this movie was big at that award ceremony as well. Like this movie was everywhere.
But the movie still has some problems. We're gonna break it down because there is some weird shit. There is some weird shit. Yo, I remember an article. I remember an article in like the newspaper. This is back when we used to have newspapers in the house, where it was like, there's these two movies, Spider-Man and Attack of the Clones. And Attack of the Clones, the love story is not realistic, but it's so refreshing. The Spider-Man story, just two normal, healthy young people falling in love. The dialogue's beautiful. What a great love story. I'm like, yo, this is the most toxic, weirdest relationship.
Yeah, it really is.
It really is, and we're gonna get into it. But the movie starts. Peter Parker's a nerd.
Yep.
He's goes to high school with a bunch of old white people in Queens.
And he's the kind of nerd that not just kids pick on him, like adults fuck with him too. Like no one is has any empathy for him.
But at one point he walks by like this busted ass nerd girl on the bus. She's like, "Don't even think about it." And it's like, yo, you'd be lucky.
She was
Tobey Maguire.
She was a very aggressive, like can't sit here. You know what I mean? Like very from the gut. You know what's funny is that I feel like she was sitting in like the short seat in the front of the bus too. Like nobody can even fit there, bitch. Yeah. Nobody was trying to sit with you.
Relax. Yeah.
And you 38-year-old fucking extra. Like you're fully 43 with two ponytails. I wasn't gonna sit here.
Yeah, and fucking so they're on the bus with all these old ass people. They're picking on him. Apparently, everyone in the school hates Peter, which I never really kind of got why they all just hate Peter. Like, he had to have done something.
Everyone hates Peter except for MJ, except for Mary Jane.
Franco.
And James Franco, which is like crazy. Like, and it's weird because it's like, well, what is him and James Franco has been friends for like ever, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So then there it is.
But then Norman Osborn didn't. His dad. So they cut to they're going to the science fair, the science hall, or some science bullshit. And
they're like on a tour.
They're on a tour. Harry gets driven in his limo by his dad, Norman. Norman comes out of limo with Harry, and he finally meets Peter. And this scene is pretty famous because Norman Osborn goes, "I'm something of a scientist myself," and they were using that as a meme. That screenshot when people were like, "I'm going to do my own research for COVID." People would post that picture like, when you want to do research on COVID or when you think you know better than your doctor, I'm something of a scientist myself.
Yeah.
What he says that. So he meets Peter in the front. They go inside. Harry tries to defend Peter, and then they make fun of Harry. Like, you would think being the richest kid in school, you'd be like exempt from, but they're like, "What are you gonna do? Buy? What are you gonna do? Buy us from that bull?" What did they say?
Yeah. He said, "Oh, be careful before his dad fires your dad." And I just want to say that as an adult who knows that happens, like we've seen some pretty fucked up firings, you know what I mean, and known that they were personal, and like I've gotten people fired, you know, those were the days, you know what I mean? Days. And I'll tell you what, when the power, when the power is in your hands, you will use it, right? Mm-hmm. So I just like to always imagine that, like, yeah, actually, what if I fucking did? What if I did get your dad fired? I bet you wouldn't like that. I bet
you Norman would have been all about
I'll
that.
actually bring your dad to his knees.
Yeah.
I'll fucking make you watch your dad cry. Is that what you want? Like, I would have flexed harder if I was Harry.
I would have pulled out my cell phone because he had a cell phone, even though it was 2002.
Yeah, no, he had that
was
little...
like, "Yo, Dad, can you fire? Yeah, thanks. Okay, now what are you gonna say, Peter?"
And that's a young Joe
Montega.
Yes, Joe Montega, hot.
It's so funny because like that character eventually becomes Venom, the bully. It's
really?
In the comic books. It's convoluted.
Oh, okay.
But he somehow becomes Venom, and I'm looking at Joe Montega now, and I'm like, yo, because Tom Hardy's Venom. Right?
He would have been a good Venom
but they could always, because he steals it from the guy, the Tom Hardy character. I was like looking at this guy because he's so in shape now. He's such a good actor.
Yeah, he is.
I was like, yo, they should totally come back to this universe and make him Venom because he'd be so good as Venom.
Yeah, I could see him as Venom.
Yeah, so maybe he'll pop off in the new movie. Who knows? I mean, he's a big actor. So like, so they're bullying him. They go to the science thing, and it's just some Asian woman talking about spiders.
So many spiders.
If I were these kids, I would have been livid. Like, that's all we're seeing at this giant science building, just spiders, your spider experiments.
Just spiders.
But one of the spiders is missing, and just like in the comic books, the spider bites Peter Parker. Peter Parker gets injured, and everyone just laughs at him.
And they're super chill about the spider being missing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
MJ's the only one that's like, she's like, and there are 15 of these, super spiders. Mm-hmm. She's like, actually, it's 14. yeah, you guys are missing one. Oh, ho hum. I think he must be doing an interview with a researcher, like says something ridiculous, and prances off, and it's just like, where the fuck is that other spider?
Yeah.
Nobody gave a fuck. Nobody cared.
Nobody gave a fuck. They're doing these weird experiments. Clearly, experiments worked.
Right.
Because Peter Parker now is
And
Spider-Man.
I've never been bitten by anything and seen the thing that bit me and then didn't stomp on it immediately. Just even out of just like secondhand. Like I just would have did that out of just my
also
reflexes.
like why weren't the scientists like we need to talk to Peter and his family because
right. Well, they didn't see it, and then he just comes home and.
Okay. I thought like he made a scene in front of everybody.
No.
Okay.
He was more just like, ow, and then he like watched it. He had enough time to take a fucking picture of it. To be honest with you, I was more surprised. I knew he wouldn't kill it. I was more surprised he didn't take a picture of it. That's how that spider like slow crawled, almost like if it was staring at him on the way, like talking shit. Like, yeah, bitch, don't get in my fucking way again.
Also, these scientists, they're the legit. Okay, so you experimented on spiders. This one spider goes missing. Then 2 weeks later, a guy shows up called Spiderman. Why aren't these scientists feeling?
Yo, I would be shitting bricks. Everyone comes into work. They're like, "Have you heard about this Spider-Man guy?" And I would just be like, sweat, like so much sweat on my upper lip.
Something to do with our missing spider? No, I don't think so.
No, God, no. That is crazy to think.
Why would that be our
The
spider?
spider's not missing. I told you, he's doing an interview with a researcher. He's not missing.
This spider. I don't.
Oh
think
my
that has
God, you
anything to do-
guys,
I
don't
think it
be
has anything to do with
ridiculous.
This Spider-Man. Like, oh my. Anyway, so fucking. Yo, so many movies depend on people, really smart people being stupid at the exact key time. Like that was like we saw this movie Butchers yesterday. That's a whole other. We should do a podcast about Butchers. We should. You know what we should do? If you were living here, we should do a podcast about shitty Amazon films, but.
Yeah, because there's been a lot. Yeah.
Velocipaster.
I'll tell you. Yes, after seeing something like Velocipaster having a trailer, watching the first Spider-Man is just a comfort.
Yeah,
you just want it on because
finally someone competent.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's not going to disappoint me half as bad as everything else that they're putting
Killer
out for
Sofa.
us. Killer Sofa. We couldn't even finish the trailer.
Yeah.
That was bad.
You know what? I think they make a movie like Killer Sofa. I think I know why. Because I think you get paid on clicks on Amazon, right? So like we at least watched the trailer.
Right.
So
is that enough to qualify for like? Is that a view?
So like I think like if you just make a regular movie like, let's say a movie about a guy stalking his girlfriend, who cares?
Not enough.
But if you make a movie like, like the Killer Coffee Table, people are gonna be like, what? And I guarantee you,
they're looking for a movie, they're gonna be like, wait, we have to play the Killer Coffee Table for 2 seconds. We just got to see what the fuck the Killer Coffee Table.
So it's probably like
about.
if you only have a couple of bucks and your movie's only gonna be on Amazon, you might as well be like, yo, let's maximize clicks.
It makes sense. That does make sense.
Yeah, because like Amazon's not going to promote, like Amazon doesn't promote Butchers. Like I never heard of Butchers.
Right. It wasn't until we were scrolling, looking for a good time. Oh boy, did we find one.
We'll talk about Butchers sometime. But so he goes home. He's sick. Oh, but right before he's sick, Norman Osborn has a meeting with the board.
Oh yes.
And this is another thing that like kind of interests me about the movie. We'll get into it as we go. The board he's meeting with them. They're showing off the goblin glider, the goblin suit.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, nobody ever goes. Nobody works at Oscorp, by the way. When the Green Goblin starts showing up, no one's like, oh, yeah, that's the prototype suit.
Yeah.
That we work on. Maybe Norman's do. Anyway.
I feel like a lot of people saw that at that company.
Yeah, because you kind of had to. But, like, so they demand, like, so he's working on this thing that's going to enchant humans, like make them stronger, and the army is basically like, you have 2 weeks to get this shit done or we're pulling all your funding. Which to me, I would have been like, what about this fucking glider, bitch?
Yeah.
Like, does the army have gliders that work this well?
They were not impressed with the glider. They wanted the glider to be a human version type something.
They wanted the super strong, which is basically what happens.
They just weren't impressed with the glider.
They wanted superhuman soldiers. So they threatened to pull the funding. So now we cut back to home. We finally meet Aunt May and Uncle Ben, who couldn't be nicer, couldn't be sweeter people.
Oh my God, they're so sweet. They actually make Tobey Maguire look like an asshole.
Even when he's nice to them.
Even when he's nice to them, that's how sweet they are.
Yeah.
Is that he is not good to them. He does not deserve these fucking beautiful family members that he has. He just really doesn't.
No, he runs home. He's sick. He lying on his bed, falls off the bed. Basically looks like he's high off the sweetest marijuana.
Yeah, marijuana.
That's how you look sometimes when you're smoking.
Yeah, like I definitely had an episode in the train station the other night. I told you where I was like, I was just too weak to even fucking check this bitch for worrying about why the fuck I'm fanning myself. But yes, I did have a few too many edibles that I thought were going to be bullshit that actually ended up fucking me up all at one point. And so I got very, very sweaty and I thought I was going to faint. And unfortunately, I didn't wake up and be a spider bitch like what happened to Tobey. But, that does happen sometimes if you smoke too much or eat too many edibles.
I think what happened to you was better than being a spider bitch. You just fucking get high. So he wakes up. So the one thing is he takes his shirt off, and I got to give Tobey credit for hitting the gym because they didn't have CGI that good back then. So he's kind of like not really in shape.
Right. They have him looking like sickly, like really skinny.
Then he takes off his shirt, and I got to know who this guy's personal trainer was because he was fucking fit for that shot.
And he was fit for his little frame and everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he looked good. He looked good. He was ripped.
And he's ripped, and all of a sudden he discovers that, shit's different. He doesn't need his glasses. Then he looks across. It's the first time he realized Mary Jane and him live across from each other. Not only that, they can see into each other's rooms.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that would have been awkward as fuck for me. Because, first of all, she doesn't seem like she closes the drapes. So he's probably seen her undressed.
I feel like in my experience with white people, they do not really close the drapes a lot. They're not drape closers, blind having... they just aren't. And the thing is that, but MJ clearly has her own shit going on because she's got, the Forrest Gump dad situation happening over there,
well,
like Jenny
arguing.
did. Yeah, like she has she comes from a fucked up house and like her dad looks all, fucking mechanic rapist crazy, he looks like one of the butchers. He looks bad.
He looks bad. Now in the comic books, the dad's an alcoholic. They don't really mention. They kind of just tiptoe around it. You're right. White people don't. So I never fuck with upstairs, right? I remember my house has 2 floors, and one night I'm in the kitchen because sometimes the dogs don't fucking sweat me if I'm really hungry.
Yeah.
Especially if I come home late, they're gonna be like,
yeah, of course.
I'll eat upstairs in that kitchen table. And one night I'm eating there, and I go to the window. The kitchen has a window. Yo, I could see into someone's bedroom.
Yeah.
And the dude is just laying in bed reading. And I'm looking right into his window.
So weird.
And I'm like, why would you not? I could just, I don't know if he was about to have a girl. I walked away. But I never forget, my aunt had a bunch of binoculars. And I'm like,
oh, she was a people watcher for sure.
Yeah, she's probably watching. Because I didn't realize you could look into those apartments.
Yeah, you can.
Kitchen.
Oh, yeah, you can. And a lot of people don't close their blinds. Mm-mm. Yeah, I've looked over there.
And that is a white people thing. You're right.
It is very much a white people thing, and I am super uncomfortable with looking into people's.
No, I just
spaces.
Went to the window.
Yeah.
I just went to the window and I could see. I was like, oh fuck. Jesus,
yeah, it's crazy.
Away. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. But back to the movie. Peter tries again. So Mary Jane's down the street. He's here. Maybe we're the distance. If you could see, I should videotape to start videotaping this shit. The distance between me and Christina, and he starts talking to himself about what he's gonna say to Mary Jane.
Oh my god!
This is the one.
But this is as Mary Jane has left her house being cussed out by her father. Her father's like, "Your mom wasn't shit. You're not gonna be shit." She's like, "I gotta go to school."
Yeah.
And he's still behind her, like, "God damn! I just
want to tap that.
If I could just talk to her."
Yeah. But you know what the weird? So in the comic books, it's not this weird. Him and Mary Jane, it's not Mary Jane kind of goes after him, and he's like. So in the comic books, this is how Mary Jane shows up. In the comic books, Aunt May is like, "Oh, I want you to meet my friend's niece, Mary Jane," and he's like, "I don't want to meet this bitch's niece," right? And he keeps missing her, and he's after these other chicks at his school, and fucking Aunt May is like, "No, you got to meet Mary Jane." He goes, "Oh God, if you're setting me up with her, she's got to be ugly." And then the big moment is he walks in the house and Mary Jane's in the kitchen. He's like, fuck. He's got to go in the kitchen for something. He's like, I don't want to see this bitch. And he walks in the kitchen. It's this gorgeous, the hottest girl that they've ever drawn in the comic. And it's Mary Jane. And he's like, what the fuck? And he, there's a running joke. And then when you finally meet her, it's this famous moment. And then she's a party girl, likes to drink. And he kind of can't handle her because he's a nerd. And they never done that in the movies, the TV shows. I really like that dynamic where she's she likes to party. They kind of implicate that she does this. They never say it.
Okay.
But then she does this. Smoking and drinking.
Okay, yeah. I
don't
was
know why
like...
I don't know why I'm doing this.
He decided to mime that shit to me like she did a little bit of this.
Yeah. They
Little
kind
bit
of
of that.
because it's for kids, they can't outright say.
Right.
But she parties. She likes to
Well,
fucking party.
I'll tell you what. In this first Spider-Man movie, they implicate that she does a little bit of this, a little bit of dick sucking. Yeah, she comes off as a big time hoe in this movie.
She does.
I'm sorry. It's not about the chits. It's not about her titties at all.
No, there's more coming. So he's on the street wanting to talk, but in this movie, it's fucking weird. He's talking to her behind her, which it's not romantic. It's just weird and creepy to me looking back.
Yeah.
Like, and her friends pull up. She gets in the car. And he's like, "Oh, I guess I missed my chance to talk to her." And then he misses the bus again because he's too busy.
See, and when he missed the bus, I was like, see, this is why the bus driver fucking hates you.
Yeah.
Every fucking day you're doing this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember even at one point he goes to Harry and is like, I lost my job. He's like, you were late again? Like, Spider-Man's not good with time.
No, Spider-Man's not good with anything.
He's not a morning person, I guess.
No.
So please don't have an emergency in the morning.
He kind of always misreads the situation. So tries to get to the bus, but the fucking he grabs on the bus, but the paper, he catches the paper. They have like a poster on the bus, so he doesn't catch the bus. Then he gets to school, and the fork is stuck to his hand. He's like, "What the fuck?"
Right.
He notices he has like in the comic books he makes his web shooters, but here he has it inside of him, which I think is kind of weird. Like, is that semen? I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
it does look like a little cum button. It's just like a little, yeah.
When it come inside of you. Yeah, it's a cum button. That's what I always thought about.
Little cum button.
Because they were like, it's too unrealistic for him to make this shit. I'm like, yo, it's already unrealistic. He's Spider-Man. Like,
right, at that point.
Just fucking, yeah. So he shoots out his web, and the web hits, and then he gets this lunch tray, hits Flash. Flash challenges him to a fight.
Yeah.
And in the fight, he fucks up Flash. He fucks him up good.
He fucks him up in a way but
he doesn't put his hands on him.
No, that makes everybody like scared of him a little bit.
Yeah. Like he grabs Flash's arm. And then he decides to test out his powers some more. He climbs on the wall. He jumps from roof to roof.
He's having a fucking gay old time.
Yeah. And apparently he's out all night because he misses painting the house with Uncle Ben.
Another dick move. Like, you would think, somebody like this character, I got muscles.
Mm-hmm.
I got a little more confidence. I'm kicking ass. You know what I mean? Everything's going right. At the very least, like, what more do you need to do? Just go home and do the thing that you said you were going to do.
Yeah, which you probably could have done in 3 seconds. This poor old man
it's you. Yeah, you could have finished the fucking paint. Like, who cares?
Dude, 68 years old. He painted the whole kitchen. Yo, 40. I've been delaying painting this living room.
Yo, before you don't even need to think in the movie when you see Uncle Ben?
Uncle Ben, yeah.
When you see Uncle Ben, you're like, I don't know what's going to happen in this movie. But I'll tell you what, that guy doesn't have a lot of time. That guy, he's old. He's
old.
If you think someone sounds old, like I feel like Uncle Ben doesn't sound as old as Aunt May.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But Aunt May is like, she's got some sweet titties too. She's fine.
Wait, do you see who Aunt May is now in the new movies?
No.
Marissa Tomei.
Really?
Yeah, and like the running joke is everybody wants to fuck his aunt.
Oh yeah, that's
but
super
it's
hot.
like weird because Aunt May was never fuckable, and now like.
Listen, times have changed, baby.
Yeah, Marissa Tomei.
Aunt May is a sex symbol, and
Yeah.
you will respect her,
like when
and
Iron
you will
Man-
jerk off to her the way you do MJ.
When Iron Man and Peter Parker meet up, he goes like, "You didn't tell me your aunt was hot." He goes, "Shut up!"
Oh yeah.
that-
Yes, I do remember that. I do remember that.
Which
Okay.
is weird that she's hot. That's like weird that character's hot.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Because Marissa Tomei looks fucking great.
Marissa Tomei is gonna die fuckable.
Yes.
People are gonna want to fuck her corpse. She
Yeah.
is just, she's everything. She's so cute.
She is.
She's just fucking adorable.
She is. But it also kind of that whole Aunt May situation now. Like now that Marissa Tomei's so young, and also they live in the projects, Peter
Right,
and Aunt May.
right,
So it's
right.
almost like what went down with the parents in the news because like they live in the projects in Queens.
Yeah.
She's young and fuckable.
Yeah.
So what was the sister doing?
Exactly.
So
many questions.
anyway, let's get back to this one. So fucking Peter's taking out the garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Mary Jane comes out, and he's like, "You're such a great actress in the first grade. You could do anything you want." And
No, I love how she comes out and they're like arguing in her house some more, right?
Yeah.
And can I just say, they have her kind of like arguing back in this scene, and it sounds like just heinous. Like she's like her dad has a horrible voice, you know. And then she's just like, and she comes out, and then he's just trying to throw out his trash, and she's like,
Were
"Wait, you listening to that?" It's like the whole fucking neighborhood's listening to it. Like, yeah, I mean, and then he's like, I wasn't trying to, just was throwing out the trash. And she's like, I guess we are kind of loud. I guess we do that all the time. It's like, yeah, bitch, you know your lifestyle.
Dude, there was some heavy she's a fucked up bitch vibes in this movie that I didn't pick up on when I was younger. But like, there is a whole backstory they're not telling us. With the dad and her.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know because
like
she's...
He just grabbed her by the pussy when she walks away.
Yeah.
They're just not... And they kind of just forget about it.
She's like outside like, sorry about all that. I just had to come out here and get some air.
Because also it never plays into anything else she does. In any of the other movies. They just forget about it.
Right, and then I feel like she's just like, yeah, she has like this vibe with men, because then like she's working at that diner and the guy's screaming at her, you know what I mean? And it's just constantly like, okay, I know. Don't tell Harry.
So this is the same day that he fucked up Flash, and she's bullshitting with Peter. Flash pulls up with a new car. He went and got a new car for getting his ass whooped.
For his birthday.
And
it looked like a Volkswagen.
And she could not run away from Peter fast enough.
And
then notice her voice changed when she got the Flash. Oh my God, I love the car.
She was totally fine after that. Like, that's just one of those neighbor bitches that's like, hey, I saw her crying in the corner until this guy showed up. And then she cartwheeled away. Like, she was totally fine after that. Like, she's like, all right, well, I guess I'll see you around. Oh my God! Hey, like she was so ready to get in that car.
And can I just tell you something right now? If there's kids listening to this, if you meet a girl like that, immediately run.
Yeah, it's like a waste.
It's a waste
of your time.
But not Peter. He decides, oh, this bitch likes cars. I'm gonna buy me a car.
This Peter's such a bitch. He's on the side staring at them like, it is a cool car. It's a pretty cool car. It's a fucking Volkswagen. It's a fucking a silver VW Bug.
But you know what? She could have got excited over anything, and he would have went and got it done. Like, she could have been excited over like a moped. That's actually really cool.
She was just ready to run away from Peter Parker.
She's just like, I gotta get away from this guy.
Yeah.
So he decides to design a suit so he can make money to buy a car. And while he's designing the suit, I forgot about this part. I love that the driving force for the whole, for him inventing the Spiderman.
For him learning to draw, because he was a shitty artist when he first started. So I feel like it was like a month of him in the room just drawing. Meanwhile, people are dying in the streets. Like, they need a hero. New York needs a hero.
Oh, meanwhile, Norman Osborn was becoming the Green Goblin, murdering his assistant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just killing left and right. Mm-hmm. But wait a minute. That's the thing. Like, people are dying. This is before he figures out how to, like, how to, like, do the web and, like glide through the city.
Yeah. He learns after his uncle dies.
This bitch is so stupid. He thinks he needs a car to drive to the crime scenes.
He's getting a car because he wants to pull up and Mary Jane will suck his dick.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, that's the thing. Why would you say, Mary Jane, I know you like that car, but
look what I can do. Yeah. I can literally show you the world Aladdin style, but in New York.
How shallow this bitch was, that would have worked.
She literally said he was incredible.
Yeah.
She loved it. It absolutely would have worked.
It would have worked.
I think, like...
Movie's over. Uncle Ben's still alive.
See, pussy just makes you go crazy. Because if you really thought about that, you wouldn't have even needed to be like, man, I got to get a VW Bug.
Yeah. He used to be like, I know you like the car, but just fuck up the car. And then she would have sucked your dick.
Then, now you're right. Now you guys are playing on the same field.
Now she'll move in. I'm sure Aunt May and Uncle Ben would be cool with it. Like, look, you guys are allowed at night, but, we don't want her getting abused by her dad.
Yeah, because Uncle Ben's still alive at this point.
Yeah, and then you wouldn't have to go wrestle, and Uncle Ben wouldn't have been shot, and things would have been good.
That was so bad. That was so bad.
But no, instead he designs a suit and then he sees an ad, which, by the way, this is not how pro wrestling works, nor MMA, that they're offering $3,000 if you're in a ring with the wrestler for 3 minutes.
For 3 minutes, that would never happen.
Never happen.
That's it. And we're not talking about for whatever reason that anybody else might think it would never happen. The biggest reason why that would never happen is because, and mostly $3,000 for 3 minutes is a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah.
They would never, there's no contest ever that's giving out that kind of bread.
I know. No.
Never.
There is not. So, they're doing, now they do work. All morning they've been taking.
All morning, quiet, yeah.
So, his uncle drives him in. And looking back, this was actually my favorite scene because I really like what Uncle Ben is saying to him.
Me too.
Because I do feel like
it really set the tone for the rest of the film, though.
I kind of wish I listened to what he was saying back then, because I was like 20 back then when this movie came out. No, I was 21, right? When he goes like, these are the years that are going to determine the man you're. It
was really cool when he said that because it's so true.
It's so everything he says is on point.
It's so true because when you think about anybody in your life that's an asshole or just even a certain specific way, and you've known them since like those formidable years, like middle school on, like high school, about to graduate type shit. You're like, they always been on that bullshit.
Yeah.
Since I first met them, because that's how, once you are like that, that's how you're gonna be, right?
Yeah, yeah. And you can change it at 20. You can really, but like I felt like not that I did anything bad back then, but I kind of feel like I was on my own. I was on my bullshit or in my own world for most of my 20s, and I feel like now, like, I'm more in reality. I'm more like whatever. I don't take rejection so personally from women anymore.
Right.
It's just move the fuck on.
Right.
And I like those words because I'm like, and it's so funny because I saw this movie like 7 or 8 times.
Yeah.
Back then, when
but
I got
that
the
part didn't stick out.
That part
you.
didn't matter until now I'm 40.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, everything he's saying is correct. Like everything this guy is saying is on point. I hope like they redo that scene in one of the newer movies. Like everything, and then like he just blows him. You're not my dad.
I'll tell you what.
Which is why you should never take any kid who's not your own.
Exactly, because guess what? Your own kid's gonna do you dirty. So I promise you, a kid that's not yours, expect nothing but them trying to kill you.
Can I just tell you something?
By a broken heart.
If I ever took in a kid and he said, "You're not my dad" or something like that, stop acting like my dad, I'd be like, "All right, then go find your own."
I will literally throw a box of garbage bags at them.
Yeah.
Start packing your shit.
Like, bitch, your own dad wants nothing to do with you. I am here. I don't need to take.
Well, so he's going. He does that to Uncle Ben because he just can't. That's the only thing that's the youngest thing about Tobey in this movie is how impatient he is. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're like, God damn, can you just fucking wait, guy? Like, what's wrong with you? And he refuses to he just doesn't want to talk to Uncle Ben. And Uncle Ben has never looked older at this point. I don't know if it was the lighting in the scene.
I think they did that on purpose.
Or, right? To make him look like
is.
really frail and old and like he couldn't even handle him being that mean to him in that moment. And then he basically screams on Uncle Ben and just tells him, he says, stop lecturing me. Well, I'm not
being a criminal.
I'm not trying to be your dad. And he's like, then stop.
Yeah.
Like such a dick. And then he slams the door. I would have felt like if you felt bad and didn't really mean it, why did the door need to be slammed? And then Uncle Ben's like a bitch. He's like, all right, I'll just be here at 10 to pick you up. I'll shut up.
I guess everything I said was bullshit.
I guess I'll just pick you up and drive you home and there'll be meatloaf in the oven for you. Like, what the fuck, bitch? You didn't come help me paint.
Yeah. So
why does he still get dinner?
I don't know. Like, well, because that's how a good guy Uncle Ben is.
You didn't fucking help him paint. And then he said meatloaf's in the oven.
With the vegetables.
Fucking asshole.
He got a side piece.
This guy's the worst.
So he goes to wrestle. I do wish wrestling would recreate this. When he's walking down the aisle, they have a bunch of women just yelling.
Oh my God, that was so funny.
They should do that in WWE or the one I went to last week, AEW. They should have like the female wrestlers on
that
the
was
aisle
amazing.
telling a wrestler that he's not shit while
he's gonna cut your dick off.
Yeah, like that shit was hilarious.
That was so good.
Yeah. And he gets in the ring, and they have the world's worst wrestling match. Even like it's just corny and stupid. I don't know.
The cage comes down around them.
Cage comes down.
For some reason, that's scary to Spider-Man at this point.
And actually, Spider-Man gets hurt a little bit by the wrestler, which he has spider strength. I don't know why. Later on, he's lifting up the Roosevelt Island fucking what is it called, tram?
Yeah,
but
the whole tram.
But the fucking wrestler is kicking his ass. But whatever.
I guess he's just growing into his spider powers at this point. You know what I mean?
So then he goes to the back. This part was rang true. He goes to the promoter. The promoter only gives him $100 and says, "You're lucky to get."
I love this part.
That's what actually happens with promoters. So.
That's true. That was very true. I told you every character was more New York than the next.
Yeah. And I think that guy was running.
It's like that guy. Yeah, that guy used to run a comedy club and some bringers in the city. And then like he's like the ultimate New York bad guy. But wait, here comes another New York bad guy.
Guy comes to rob him, steals the money, and when he runs out, the guy goes to Spider-Man. Why didn't you stop him? He goes, "That's not my problem." And then he leaves. He leaves. He walks down to where his uncle's going to drive him home.
Let's remind people. This is $3,000, and maybe there was a lot of bills strewn about on the thing. So let's say we're talking $4,000. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
This guy.
The guy has all the money just out on the table.
Yeah.
Which you would never have.
Never. But we're talking about. Let's say that this guy just robbed him of $4,000. Mm-hmm. Right. That's what he did.
Yeah. Okay. Let's say.
So it's $4,000.
Yeah.
Was it really worth it? Like he then continues on in this crime spree.
That
starts off with just trying to rob $4,000.
He gets $4,000 from this wrestling promoter, who has no security apparently, and
right, there was just another guy in there that was just like, "Whoa, you just got robbed!" Like we don't even understand what's going on. Nobody has a gun.
It sucks for you. Yeah. So maybe next time don't have your money just out on the table, like.
He goes up to Spidey. He's like, "You could have ripped him apart."
Yeah, that's not my problem. So then Peter Parker goes for his bitch-ass uncle to drive him home. And then he sees like all these cops. He's like, what's going on? So this dude, after stealing $4,000, then this... All right, Matilda.
Honestly, Matilda.
Matilda made a noise like, oh, God.
You love Spider-Man, Matilda. You love it.
So fucking... He shoots this old man for his car in front of the public library, by the way.
Yeah.
One of the busiest intersections of Manhattan.
Well, hey, guys, he's got $4,000. He's got to get out of the country. Listen, $4,000?
$4,000.
Whoa, bro. He's got to fucking get out of the country, open up a Swiss bank account. He's got a lot of fucking money on his person right now.
They're both being over dramatic. These dogs. They're acting like
they're just being cute.
Can I tell you something?
They're just tired of us doing whatever we're doing that doesn't involve
yes
them being all over us.
Sometimes when I'm playing a video game, I'll if I'm really into it, I'll look over it. Jasmine will look like she was abandoned at the side of the road and hasn't eaten in 7 days.
She's like, I don't know what you're doing, but it doesn't involve me, and I don't like it.
It's over. So, fucking, he drives away. Peter finds Uncle Ben. I thought this was cool that Uncle Ben doesn't have a last word. He's just like,
I thought that was cool too, because I'm somebody who's like, yeah, fuck you. You don't even get his last words.
No, that's
after
what makes
the
it
way
more
that you
painful.
fucking and you want to know what else? Uncle Ben was there yet again on time.
Yeah. If you'd been
on time. Yeah. Yes, this is still your fault because you literally let his murderer run up to him. But the murderer only had a getaway car because it was your getaway car. It was your ride and you were late again, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You were late.
So Spider-Man decides he hears that where the guy's going. He decides to chase after the car with the cops. It's a whole fucking chase. And
this is the only time when he finally learns.
He learns how to web swing because he's
great.
Follow the car.
Because now's the time. We needed that shit like yesterday.
Yeah. He finds the guy. He realizes the guy he let go. He instead of killing the guy.
Uncle Ben could have been at home, balls deep in Aunt May.
Yeah.
Minding his fucking business. But he went to pick you up because he didn't know that you could fly. So he went to pick you up. Mm-hmm. You fucking... Spider-Man's a dick in this movie.
No, he really is.
He's really kind of a fucking dick in this movie. I'm sorry.
Asshole. So he captures the guy. He goes home. Aunt May is basically about to fucking have 10 strokes. That her poor ass husband got shot.
Oh my God. Aunt May's he's left Aunt May alone
for hours now.
Post husband's death.
Yeah.
And has just left her. The last time that Uncle Ben left, he probably gave Aunt May a piece of dick. They look like they fuck on the reg.
Yeah.
Probably piped her off a little piece and was like, "Now let me go pick up my son, even though he don't want to call me daddy. You know that's my motherfucking son. I'm gonna be there at 9:45. 9:55, a cab gets busting his ass.
Fucking wild. So then months pass. He graduates high school. And,
yeah, of course.
He decides him and Harry are gonna move into the city.
Yeah.
And then months pass. He's now in college, and now he's Spider-Man. He's fighting crime. While this is going on, at some point, Mary Jane, not telling nobody, left Flash, start banging Harry. She's fucking Harry now.
Yeah. And working at some sort of fucking cum dumpster of a diner.
Yeah. Now, here's the deal. I don't understand why, if she's dating like the richest guy in the neighborhood,
I don't understand
why
it either.
he doesn't get her an apartment or...
I don't understand it either, because I don't even understand how she can hide the fact that she works at this horrific restaurant, because then that would mean that, like, I mean, you're not making good money over there.
Yeah.
Anybody that waits tables knows, like...
And Harry's kind of grimy that him and Mary Jane are together, but also not, because Peter... it used to be more like Harry's fucked up, but now like Peter was never with her. Like Peter is just weirdly into her. So,
but also, who's really fucked up? Mary Jane.
Mary Jane,
like, don't sit there and act like you don't know what's up.
So here's the deal. This is what I think sometimes movies play tricks on you, because I realize watching this, we never see a single scene where Harry and Mary Jane are like a normal couple. There's not a single scene where they fall in love.
And the whole Thanksgiving feels forced.
Yes.
Like, it's like, well, when... This is the first time, because at one point he, like, goes to kiss her, and she's just like... like,
yeah, she pulls
like,
away. No, that's
she
at
pulls away.
the World Unity Day.
Yeah, she
the
pulls away.
Greatest holiday ever.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, there's never a single scene where they're together. Like there should have been a scene where like she decides to date him, like he asks her out.
That was a little confusing.
It's like they're just together, and like, but like I don't know why they like each other.
Me neither. I don't really know either, and I can't understand unless it's because she's getting something from Harry, which I would assume that she would need to. Look, she works at this horrible fucking...
You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. She works at this horrible fucking job, so she needs money.
But if you had asked me like a year ago, like, is there a scene of Harry?
Maybe she already seemed too whorish in the film, so they were like, let's not make her look like a gold digger too, because she definitely seems like a whore.
Sorry. Maybe they thought like, no. Well, I'm just saying, like, if you asked me a year ago, is there a scene where Mary Jane and Harry get together? I would have been like, oh yeah, there's a scene. There's no scene. It just doesn't exist. Anyway. So, where the fuck was I? Oh, so while this is happening, Norman also is losing control of the board. The board of directors are like, Norman, you ain't shit. We're taking the company away from you, and he freaks out.
He's freaking out. This is his company, and he's not happy about it at all.
No, he's not happy. So
they tell him he's out though.
He's fucking out. So fucking Peter meets Mary Jane in the street. She's getting fired from her job or being yelled. What was the manager? Some fat dude starts yelling at her.
Yeah, never come back again. This drawer was short $7. You bitch.
Yeah, something like that. So she's all sad, and Peter's like, "You can do anything you want." Like Peter's still like being weird. World Unity Day hits, and there's this big celebration. Harry's there. Mary Jane's dressed Asian for some fucking reason.
It's World Unity Day, and this is 2002, so we are still culturally appropriating. Mm-hmm. And, this was.
Macy Gray is the artist, which I would never forget. Like, Howard Stern saw an advanced screening of this movie. He goes, the only problem with this fucking movie is Macy Gray. It's going to date the movie. And I was like, no, it won't. It really dates the movie. Like, Macy Gray was never big.
Not as a gigantic music artist. I mean, she did some acting too, though. I don't know what she's doing currently.
Nothing.
Maybe probably producing music or
Maybe
something.
she's begging to be in the new Spider-Man film. Like,
But she does have a very 2000s voice. Like anytime you think of her voice, it's like
well, definitely like if you don't know what year you're in, like if you like forgot what year this movie is, when Macy Gray shows up, you're like, oh yeah, 2002.
yeah, now we know.
So the Green Goblin shows up, kills all the board directors that kicked him off.
Yeah, he's like, I'm out.
Yeah.
And then blows them up. They turn into skeletons.
Which he never uses again. Which I don't know why would you not do that to Spider-Man.
Yeah, was that the only ball? Was that the only like death ball that he had?
like,
Because
"Shit,
that was amazing.
Yeah, like why not create?
I would have
more
just
death balls?
threw so many of those death balls everywhere.
Yeah. And he blows up that little like fucking building he owns. It almost looks like his house or something. And then like he leaves his son there to die. Right?
Yeah, he doesn't care about his son. I was wondering. I'm like, is it him? Does the whole thing take over? Does he not even give a fuck about the son? Like, what's?
Yeah, and so Mary Jane falls. Spider-Man gets her. Fights with Green Goblin. The whole time though, Harry is lying on that balcony unconscious. That's your best friend and roommate. That's the motherfucker paying your rent. And Spider-Man never goes back to help Harry.
No.
So for all we know, Harry survives. He's in the movie later on. But how the fuck did Harry get out of that?
Yeah, right. And I think everybody's just like, oh, good, Harry's safe. Good.
Yeah, he's just lying there.
Like you didn't give a fuck.
You didn't give a fuck. Yeah. So, but they have a fight. He has to rescue a kid. It's a pretty good fight scene. It's kind of corny. I'll see you again, Spider-Man. Like,
Yeah.
all that bullshit. Oh, also, I forgot another part. While this is all going on, Peter Parker gets a job at the Daily Bugle to take photos of Spider-Man.
Oh
J.
yes,
Jonah Jameson.
that's where we meet the most New York character,
Yeah, J.
which
Jonah
is
Jameson.
yeah,
And played by J.K. Simmons. Really good role. Elizabeth Banks is the secretary.
yes, with a really bad wig.
Mm-hmm. So after they fight, Harry Osborn calls Mary Jane, and he's like, oh, you want me to buy you something? You want me to take out to dinner? You want a trip? And she's just all like, I just really want to fuck Spider-Man. He's incredible.
Like, he's incredible.
He's incredible. Like she's literally
Spider-Man was incredible.
She's literally flaunting her wet pussy to her boyfriend.
Well, she just was saved. You know what I mean?
I know, but like,
And it was hot.
you can't tell your boyfriend that.
Well, you shouldn't.
Also, she should. Why didn't she say at any point when Spider-Man put her down? Can you go back for my boyfriend? Like he's lying there dead on a balcony. Saying she just.
Is he gonna be okay? Who? Nobody. Never mind.
Never mind.
It doesn't matter.
Who cares? I don't know. And fucking Spider-Man. I mean, yeah. So Harry doesn't know where. Harry's like, oh, okay, I guess she doesn't want to fuck me. Meanwhile, Green Goblin's looking for Spider-Man. He goes to the Daily Bugle, attacks J. Jonah Jameson. Spider-Man comes down. Green Goblin kidnaps him. And then Green Goblin tries to convince him to join him by screaming in his face.
Right.
Think about it! Remember that?
Think about it! He drugs him.
Ties
wakes him up, like pop shit to him.
Yeah.
And is like, we should be friends. Think about it.
The one cool thing though about the scene with Green Goblin and J. Jonah Jameson is the whole movie J. Jonah Jameson is an asshole. And then Peter Parker's sitting right there, and Green Goblin's like, tell me, where's the kid who takes pictures of Spider-Man? And J. Jonah lies. He goes, I don't know who it is. Like,
he's I told you he's the most New York guy. He ain't no snitch.
He's no snitch. No,
he's no motherfucking snitch.
No, he's not. He's not a snitch. So now, but all of a sudden now, everyone thinks Spider-Man's a criminal because because he got knocked out by Green Goblin. They think they're in it together.
Yeah, I think at this point the city is like, all right, look.
Yeah.
Thanks for saving us and whatnot, but your little pissing contest right
With
now.
the Green Goblin.
It's like hurting people.
No.
Because remember, like they keep going out of their way to save certain people, but then we see certain people get truly fucked up. Like like a phone pole like falls on somebody's shoulder and knocks him down. It's like he's a big dude, but that shoulder's gonna be fucked for the rest of his life. That's back problems. That's the city's getting sued.
The one thing about superhero movies is they drop everything to save the bitches they want to fuck. If you are someone
they drop everything to save very specific people.
Yeah.
It's not random at all.
No. It's basically So
anybody that you see get hurt in a superhero film is ugly as fuck because they just want you to know they don't give a fuck about those people.
No. So Peter Parker finds Mary Jane and is at her new restaurant. And she's like, "How did you find me here?" Like, and he goes, oh, I just took a bus, and Aunt May told your aunt, who told me, and I was in the neighborhood, and I just thought I'd stop you by work. Like, just totally creepy. Creep any woman out. She's cool with it. They're walking. Mary Jane tells him, by the way, the roommate of her boyfriend, that she's met someone.
Right.
That she's into someone.
Yeah.
And that she likes, basically admitting to him that she wants to fuck Spider-Man. Then she gets almost raped.
Of course.
Yeah.
And these guys, again, ultimate New York bad guy rapists.
Mm-hmm.
All of them normal human beings until they get close enough to her where they all become these rapist farm animals.
Yeah.
One guy's like, "Mwah, mwah, mwah, mwah." The other guy's like, "Arr, arr," you know, like the other one's like they're all doing animal noises to her, which I thought was really weird. Like at least
Jasmine got really excited.
at least 3 of them were like just doing all these noises to her. It was pretty disgusting. Well, I told you, any movie, the stakes are higher anytime, you know, as a female watching a movie and you see a woman about to be raped. And they turn her around.
So Spider-Man
It's suggested.
Yeah, Spider-Man saves her. And then she just makes out with him. It's the upside down kiss, which is world famous. Like
World famous, won an MTV Movie Award that year.
And they kiss. And the next scene is there's a house on fire. Spider-Man rescues a baby. A cop tries to arrest him.
The cop says he rescues the baby. When he gets down, the cop says, "Stop right there. You're under arrest." Everyone's like, "What the fuck?" I think the baby even is like, "What the fuck?" And that's when somebody starts screaming in the building, and they're screaming, "There's somebody left up there." And you know, Spider-Man looks at the fucking chief, at the policeman, and is like, "I'm going." And he goes, "I'll be here when you get back." And he said, "I'm not coming back, chief."
He's like, oh, fuck. All right, well, you got me on that one.
Yeah, like, why the fuck would I come back? But we find out it's just Green Goblin.
Green Goblin being a bitch. And Green Goblin, like, attacks him, cuts his arm.
It's just Green Goblin being a fucking stage 1 of design of a Power Ranger villain. Like,
and then we find out all this is happening on Thanksgiving Day because Norman Osborn
Right.
goes, yes. Norman goes to have dinner with Peter, Harry, Mary Jane, and Aunt May. And he gets the dinner, and he's acting weird. Like, he's just acting like a sociopath.
he's walking up there with that other personality, like, yeah, and he's like got his eyes rolled in the back of his head. He's going through some shit. We know he's becoming unhinged.
He's going through some shit. Peter shows up. First, Norman, like, sees blood, tries to find Peter. Peter's, like, hiding.
Wait, by the way, it's like, did Norman set that whole building on fire just to lure Spider-Man there, just to have a conversation with him? You
Yes.
fucking sociopath.
Yes, I think that's it.
You killed people.
One second. Yeah, so that's the other thing I have a question about. So Norman, Green Goblin, movie starts. His whole thing is like he's just pissed. He wants his company back.
Yeah.
He wants his defense contracts. He wants all this shit. He kills everybody who stood in his way. Then suddenly, midway through this plan, he sees Spider-Man and then just forgets about his company, forgets about the fact and he's just all about like fucking up Spider-Man. And I just kind of
he becomes unhinged.
Yeah, it's like what does this have to do with you? You're still like, let's say he kills Spider-Man, he kills Mary Jane, he kills Aunt May. All these 3 bitches are dead. Your company's still fucked. Like
He doesn't care about that anymore. I think the
guess
second that he started crawling across the floor and talking in different voices
Yeah.
to himself
getting too
in the
crazy,
mirror,
yeah.
like, I gotta really commend the directors for not putting us through something as awkward as watching him talk to. You know what I mean? Like the way that they, at some point, I'm sure they had to keep doing this again and again. And they had to be like, okay, we gotta like get the mask and have him talk to the mask because it's too weird. Him switching these voices, which I thought he did a phenomenal job. I thought he did a great job.
He's one of the best actors of our time.
Yeah, he did a really good job.
He's good in everything. But so they're at Thanksgiving dinner, and Peter comes by. He's like, "Haha, sorry, I took so." He comes. By the way, he's late.
Again, well, big surprise, guys! It's a fucking important dinner,
and he brings 1 can. He gets one can of cranberry sauce about fucking like size of a thimble.
He gets one can of cranberry sauce. He comes in now and it's tense, you know?
Yeah, it's tense. Aunt May tells Norman to cut the turkey.
Which, before he does that, he gets swatted by her because he puts his fucking fingers
On the fruitcake, right?
on the yams.
On the yams. That's even
yeah,
worse.
like even worse. Like he like has his fingers deep in the fucking marshmallows, and Aunt May slaps his hand, and he looks like a fucking rabid dog at that point.
Yeah, he just looks at her like.
And at that point, I would have been like, "Yo, are you good? Because you just put your fucking street hand in the food.
And
like
now you're
there's
grilling this old lady.
Yeah, there's definitely something fucking wrong with you."
So-
But we don't even make it to him cutting the turkey.
No, because he sees Peter's bleeding, and he's not an idiot, unlike everyone else
Right.
in this movie. He puts two and two together.
Yes.
Leaves, and then here's another funny scene. All the stuff with Mary Jane, now that I'm older, is so fucking funny. Harry comes out and is like, I want you to be Mary Jane, and he just calls her basically a whore.
Yeah.
She's only in it for your money. Also,
What did he say? Broomer?
yeah, he said, broomer, but I guess he meant sweep her away, but that was their way of saying it. Like,
Broomer! I've never heard of
take
that.
what you want from her, then broomer.
Broomer.
Yeah, and Harry doesn't say anything, and I think it's because Harry's shocked that his dad is basically acting like a bitch
Yeah.
at Thanksgiving dinner, and
Yeah.
he walks in, and Mary Jane cannot wait to give it to Harry. Not like, is your dad okay? Is your dad on drugs?
See, but that's why I think she never really wanted to be with him. She
No.
just ends up with him because she doesn't lock anyone else down.
No, she yells at him, you didn't defend me from that pig or something? Or
Creep.
that creep. You can't.
And he immediately is like, that creep is my father.
But I kind of agree with him. Like, don't go that way.
I agree with him too. I also just feel like, does anyone give a fuck about Aunt May? She lost her husband like a month ago. And this is her first Thanksgiving. She even says, this is his first Thanksgiving in this place. I want to make it really special. And everyone shits.
Everyone just storms out.
Everyone fucking shits on this dinner.
Yeah, and it's like, way to treat Aunt May like a
I mean, when does Aunt May finally fucking lose it?
Well, later on in the movie, because she's praying to Jesus before she goes to bed, like a good old lady from Queens.
Right.
And the Green Goblin destroys the house. And she's like trying to
As
say her
he
prayer.
screams to her, finish it.
Finish your prayer. And she does.
Deliver us from evil.
And he, I guess, punches her a few times. I don't know what he does to her. But she's in the hospital. He doesn't kill her. She's in the hospital.
Yeah, he throws a like hot piss on her hand. He's got a hot piss ball.
So now she's in the hospital. And she's still pretty. I mean, her husband got killed in June.
She was just attacked by a thing.
And she's got it together. And she's worried about Peter. Peter's in the hospital. Mary Jane comes to the hospital. And Mary's like, is Spider-Man asking about me? I don't know. My aunt's dying. What the fuck? I don't
you
know if Spider-Man asked
selfish,
about you.
horny whore.
So, but instead, Peter, I don't know how people took this line seriously. I did tell Spider-Man about you. I told her that when you look into Mary Jane's eyes,
Oh my god.
you see the best of humanity.
I'm
and the light
the
of your
type of bitch
soul.
that I would have stopped him right there and been like, "It's fine. You didn't. You could just say you didn't talk to him. Just tell me you didn't talk to him."
I just want to know, is he seeing anyone? That's all I really need to
Yeah,
know.
I didn't
don't
really-
know.
So you told him that, shut the fuck up. Don't tell me shit of that. I
Yeah.
want to know, what does he think of my tits and my
I
ass?
guarantee you, if Spider-Man was a separate guy and he asked Peter, and he started going on like, the light in your soul, and Spider-Man would have said either two things. I just want to know if she likes me, and also like, bitch, do you like her? Why are you going on about the light in her soul eyes and all this shit?
Right, that's too fucking much. Like, back up off of that.
Back up. So
God damn it, Peanut. No.
Peanut, come over here. So
I love you.
this is what happens when you do a podcast
Don't lick me right there.
with three animals. So Aunt May hears this and is like, makes like pretend she's asleep, but she's awake, and she's like, "Ooh, smooth moves, Peter. You're gonna fuck this bitch for sure."
Yeah, I love how she was awake the whole time. Just
Yeah.
like, what if I actually did fuck her? Because I thought you were in a fucking coma. Because you were asleep.
Peter touches her hands, and Harry walks in, sees that, picks up that they like each other. But here's the deal. Also, Mary Jane could be holding his hand because his aunt was attacked by a demon. From
Yeah,
hell.
but it would have been that had she not ripped it out of his hands
Yeah.
upon.
Yeah.
God, I wasn't.
Yeah. So Harry leaves.
There's nothing sexual going on here.
Harry leaves, which again, Mary Jane does not give a fuck about. She's like, yeah, you better leave. I got a new guy to fuck. You better leave.
Yeah, Mary Jane could give a fuck.
Could give a fuck. So, two things happen next. Aunt May tells Peter a story about when he first laid eyes on Mary Jane. He was like, is that an angel? Basically meaning Peter's been creepy about this bitch his entire life.
Oh, yeah. Anytime that when he first met her, he was like...
He was like, is that an angel? That's number one. And then the second thing is that Harry tells Norman that Mary Jane's in love with Peter. And Norman's like, all right, it's time to fuck shit up for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only time he has some sort of empathy for his son because he's like, oh, good.
Yeah. And tells him how great his son is.
Good. Now I really have a reason to kill him.
So he kidnaps Jasmine.
He kidnaps Mary Jane.
He kidnaps Mary Jane, and then he also kidnaps. So it's like 2:00 in the morning, and apparently on Roosevelt Island, they like to put children in trams at 2 a.m.
Super realistic.
Because there's an entire tram of children.
Hey, it's New York, baby.
Yeah.
It's New York, baby. We put 48 kids in a fucking
tram.
I have never seen so many people in that thing. There's
yeah.
no way.
Let alone children. I think it was one adult.
There's no way. Yeah, with one chaperone.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So he goes to Spiderman. You have a choice: save the kids or save Mary Jane. He saves
save this
both.
Pussy or save these children.
Yeah. He goes for Mary Jane first, though.
He does.
Because he's weird.
She's dropping slower.
Okay, that's true. But here's the deal. He saves them through the power of New York. The citizens get off their cars.
Whole city behind them.
To throw tomatoes at Green Goblin.
Tomatoes. They're throwing things that it looks like they might need. Like things for like...
They're throwing their iPods.
They, like lug nuts or whatever the fuck you need for fucking...
Yeah, they're throwing their spare tires at
Yeah, they're
shit.
throwing like their
This
axles.
is New York!
Yeah, they're like, you mess with him, you mess with us. Hey, man, what are you doing bullying a guy trying to save a bunch of kids? What's the matter with you?
What's the matter with you over here? So, they're all Goomba Johnny throwing shit at him. And then, meanwhile, this little boat comes and they lower the kids and Mary Jane onto the boat.
Yes.
So that's all good.
Onto the barge.
Yes, onto the barge. So then these two start fighting in an abandoned building, I think on Roosevelt Island or near the creek in the cave. It might have been the original creek in the cave. But they're fighting in a building near in that general area. Spider-Man learns the Green Goblin's Norman. Norman starts telling him how I've been like a father to you. Like, bitch, we met 3 times.
He's pleading. Yeah, he's definitely pleading and, buying time. He's doing that thing in every movie where we're like, look behind you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, don't listen to this long speech. He's full of shit.
And then the big announcement is, like, I had a dad. His name was Uncle Ben. And we're like, would that make him your uncle? And then, anyway, he jumps up.
I had a dad. I made sure that I told him he could never be my dad, but I did think he was my dad.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't matter now because he's dead.
He's dead. Yeah, thanks for telling that to Green Goblin.
Really, Uncle Ben would have really loved to hear that.
Yeah, you probably should have said that in the car.
Or just not said any of the other fucked up shit you did say.
Yeah.
How much would it have cost him, time and money, to just sit there and be like, yeah, okay, Uncle Ben, you're right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And hey, guess what, Uncle Ben? You don't need to come pick me up from work later because I'm not a fucking bitch.
I also have the powers of a spider. So
yeah.
I can get home.
I'm a Spider-Man now.
Yeah. So he dies, and Norman says, "Just don't let Harry know." Which he tries to go by that. He tries to make it look like Norman died peacefully in his house, but Harry walks in on him.
But Harry walks in on Spider-Man placing Norman down.
Yeah.
And it's like, what did you do to him?
And now he's swearing vengeance against Spider-Man. So now we cut to. I didn't realize how fucked up this scene was. So it's Norman Osborn's.
Well, we're at the funeral, and when Harry makes that promise, he swears it on his grave, and that's powerful. We're on burial grounds.
Now remember,
promises made on burial grounds.
Let's review what's going on. Harry thinks Spider-Man has killed his dad, who Mary Jane was in love with.
Right.
He's made that known to everyone, I'm sure. At the dinner, at the wake, probably called up the newspaper, right? Mary Jane's his ex-girlfriend, I guess. Now they never really saw him officially break up. They're all at the funeral. Harry walks away. They're still on the grave. Everyone walks away. I guess they go to the dinner. And Mary Jane,
because there's always like an after spot for the funeral.
Yeah.
Like when you go to a funeral, a lot of people know this. You don't just go to a funeral and be like, all right, see you peeps later. You go to a reception where, you know, people eat and they congregate still.
And this
guy seemed like he had a lot of like friends and family and shit and money. Like, they're definitely doing an after thing.
Yeah, so they're all doing an after thing. Mary Jane goes up to Peter.
Except for Mary Jane and Peter.
Mary
who
Jane
have hung behind, conveniently enough.
Yeah. So Mary Jane finds Peter and then tells Peter she's always been in love with him and she wants to be with him.
So fucking convenient.
And then she kisses him.
She did it weak as fuck. She was like, when I was stuck up there on top of that highway and I thought I was going to die, I couldn't think of anyone but one person. He's like, I know, Spider-Man. And she's like, no, you. I just could only think of you. And that's why I finally realized I've never in my fucking life had an experience where I was like when I tore my ACL, my MCL, my meniscus, I didn't go, oh my God, I know who I love. Like, I don't believe in that.
No.
I really don't. I think that you meet people and you're like, fuck yeah or fuck no. And maybe sometimes after a little bit of time, you might be like, that's a fuck maybe. That might turn into a fuck yeah. But more than likely, it's a lot of fuck no's immediately.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck if you put me on top of the fucking Empire State Building and left me there for 3 days. I'm not going to come back down and be like, all right, I know who I'm in love with. It was in front of my eyes the whole time. Like, what, bitch? I just think it was weak as fuck. I thought it was. I think Mary Jane's a little toxic. If I can
Mary
say,
Jane's very toxic.
She's a fucking little toxica. Like, she's a real toxic little bitch.
But here's the problem: this bitch is doing all this shit at her boyfriend's father's funeral. They're standing on this.
Oh my
grave.
God! This guy he's still fresh in the grave.
Yeah, and she is going for it with Peter. What the fuck is Peter? Now Peter says no, not because it's fucked up to do.
Harry. Peter is also doing like a classic revenge thing that I don't think that he realizes he's doing, where it's like, guess what? Your dream is now my dream, only because I went through a nightmare. But now I can see where you're coming from, and I would like to share in that dream. And he's like, I don't dream anymore, baby. Like, he's just like, dreams are for children. Like, he just shuts her down in a really classic way. Like, I'll always be your friend. That's all I can offer because I'm Spider-Man. But I can't tell you that.
Yeah.
So, you think that I'm breaking up with you because you're not enough for me because you're a woman, and that's what you're supposed to think, right? You think that you're less than now because I'm this, I'm me and you're not interested in me. But, the truth is that I care too much about you to be with you, which is all bullshit.
Yeah.
I think he wanted to dump her.
Well, I mean, like, in the later movies, they're together, but, like...
Right.
Yeah, but, like...
After he makes her feel a little bit of how he felt.
But also, she's really just jumping through guys at her high school, which is never a good sign.
That's what I mean, though. Yeah. She's got those kind of titties. She wears the kind of bra that shows the nipples. Like, she definitely is about that life. Come on, what the fuck?
What?
Peanut?
I know, Peanut was trying. I know Peanut was trying to climb on top of this.
Golly. But yeah, she's super disrespectful. And then she continues to hang out at the gravesite crying because, at that...
Not because her boyfriend's dad's dead.
No, but it looks like that.
Yeah.
She just decides to finish out her cry there. And Spider-Man, although he wants her never in danger, could give a fuck about if she's in the cold crying on a grave because he just pieces out. He really doesn't personally care about the feelings part. No, like her mental health, he could give a flying fuck about. It's the physical health. Bitch. It's the physical health that he's like, hey, I'll bring you down 137 stories. But, you're going to stay down to earth, bitch, because I'm never going to go out of my way for you. Emotionally.
No, it's over. We're not fucking. Yeah. So that's how the movie ends. He's Spider-Man. He has to stay alone. Harry hates Spider-Man. Norman's dead. Mary Jane is probably going to go off and fuck 6 guys at the bar.
Well, yeah, Mary J is going to definitely be one of those chicks that, every time you worked at a comedy club or a restaurant, and there would always be that one hot chick that you'd be like, she never wears a bra to work. Like, you think she's fucking all the kitchen guys. You know what I mean? Sometimes she goes in there and acts a little weird, and you're like, God, what's going on with this girl's life? And it's like, well, I'm in love with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You guys don't understand. I go through a lot. The other day I woke up and I was on top of Penn Station. So yeah, I'm back here sucking dick for coke. I'm doing the fucking best I can.
Do you think like she hit up Spider-Man? Like she tried to hit up Spider-Man later on and was like, I actually want to fuck you. I thought I wanted to fuck
If
Peter.
she's the toxic bitch that she comes off as, she
doesn't know that.
She just goes to sleep. She just pretends to go to sleep with a cigarette, lights a whole building on fire. And she's like, he will come to me. He will come and save.
Hero.
He will save us.
You know what? I'm getting older. So many movie relationships are so incredibly fucking
Toxic. Super toxic.
Even like on Friends, a lot of those relationships are like incredible.
Like to me, it was just their whole love triangle was very ghetto. Like it just it just seemed like it could be on Steve Wilkos. Like could this not, like, without the actual superpowers, this translates to a Steve Wilkos episode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This could go on par with some of the greatest episodes Steve Wilkos has ever had. Who put PCP in the baby's bottle?
Because she played games with Flash, Harry,
yeah,
Peter, and Spider-Man.
Exactly.
What if Spider-Man was into her? He just fucking risked his life for her.
Right.
She's assuming Spider-Man and Peter are two different and they're friends.
She is.
Remember, Peter is friends with Spider-Man and
Yes.
Norman. Harry in her mind.
Yes.
So this motherfucker just killed the man.
But it would be like a little bit cringe to be a female and be like, damn, I keep blazing the homies. Like, I'm a real guy's girl. Who's your friend? Is it Spider-Man? Because I want to fuck him now. I know I used to fuck Harry. I know I said I wanted to fuck you, but if Spider-Man ever becomes available. Okay, so you just want to be friends. Well, what about Spider-Man?
Spider-Man want to fuck me?
Could you maybe hook that up for me?
Yeah.
Like, because you don't want to be with me. And I almost thought for sure, like, I feel like Mary Jane does that because she's like, come on, Mary Jane, you could never be with Spider-Man. He doesn't want someone that pays for food at the diner with their butthole. he's never going to love you. He could be with anybody. Better go for Peter Parker. Then she goes to Peter Parker and he's like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I really,
Yeah, so, like, because he in his mind, it's because he's Spider-Man, but in her mind, it must be like, God, I can't even fuck Peter now.
Right, and then in her mind, it's like, well, what are you doing after? But he's already walked away. And, like, he's already gone to join Harry at the deli or something.
And it's like, wait a minute, this was the guy that was, like, in love with me. He was up my ass for, like, 12 years, and now he's just
Oh,
away.
that would, if that didn't throw her into a tailspin of dick sucking for her own confidence, I don't know what would.
Oh, dude, you know, when I
like, why doesn't Spider-Man ever show up in those moments? Like when she's making a bad decision sexually, you know what I mean? When she's out there giving
like,
sexual,
"Wait, here I am."
he's like, that's danger that you choose.
Yeah.
Now,
I
if
have
you
to
wake
save
up in
you.
the middle of Queens Highway or whatever the fuck,
Queens, Woodhaven Boulevard,
right?
sucking cock on the streets. Yeah, no, but all in all, I think it's a good film.
It was a good film. I always love classic. I loved Kirsten Dunst in those days. Kirsten.
She's really hot.
She was really hot.
Really
She had a great like body. Those were the days of the low rise jeans.
Yeah.
Take it down to the crotch. She was hot. She was
hot.
really hot.
She was hot. And
gorgeous. I loved young Tobey.
You know what? It doesn't feel like a 2-hour movie.
No, it really doesn't. And young James Franco is gonna always be my motherfucking jam.
Can I tell you something? He looks like a movie. He looks like he was born to be a movie star.
Absolutely.
The amount of bullshit he pulled, and he's like nowhere now.
When
He
you
did
watch,
all
okay,
the
so
wrong
when
moves.
you watch this, you do think like if you were coming out of fucking being frozen in a rock right now,
Jay-Z.
let's say you're a fucking Encino man, and you're seeing this for the first time, you would be like, whoa, is this like this guy must be Brad Pitt of your generation.
He did nothing but the wrong movies.
I feel like sometimes he just hides behind his like funniness or like his humor and shit, and it's like, but you're so good.
Well, now because he started teaching acting, which was like what? And
He's handsome as fuck.
He molested all his students. Now Seth Rogen won't use him in his movies anymore.
Oh, that's too bad. I really do feel like when certain people get power, they just always use it for sexual bad, and I don't understand that. Do you know, with that kind of power, you can fully expect to see me pregnant looking, because I'm all about the craft services. Like, I would be using it for shrimp purposes. You know what I mean? For shrimps.
Yeah.
I would just be like people would be, they'd be like, oh man, don't invite Christina. She's going to make you buy her food. Like, that would be my jam. You know what I mean? The food, not like putting people in weird, you're James Franco. Like, do you think you need to molest somebody?
Yeah, no, I know. Oh, this says this is James Franco's page. It's not. It's some fan. I looked up this thing. It says official fan account. Okay, because the bio says they say I'm a pretty boy. I'm like, that's no way.
There's no way.
There's no way that's your bio on.
I didn't hear about him molesting people, but I just know that anybody that teaches an acting class or an improv class or stand-up class, for some reason, has to do that. They end up doing that. So I just know that personally, but I don't.
Because the only reason why someone
it makes no sense.
Only reason someone is famous as James Franco would teach acting is so he could get some of that poon poon.
I think people like that might teach acting also so that they could feel a little more important.
Because
like,
he's too big
don't
of a
they
star
say?
to
Don't they say that those who can't do teach?
Yeah, but he can do.
He can do, but do he be doing?
He ain't doing anymore.
Right, he don't really be doing.
Right now he's not teaching anymore either. So
we did get young James Franco. That was good.
Yeah, but this was pretty good, and I gotta tell you what, it was even better. This fucking podcast, because we broke this shit down.
Oh, we break it down. Break down.
Mm-hmm.
Breaking Spiderman on down.
We fucking killed it. Hey, Christina, where can people find you?
You can find me online at freakin' Jurican on Instagram and Twitter, which I'm never on Instagram. I am. Facebook, Christina Galston, also on YouTube. You can see my old Clusterfest set from 2 years ago with Comedy Central on comedycentral.com or on YouTube. And keep an eye out for a new Comedy Central feature that I did. Little 10 minutes coming out soon. I don't know when, but check out for that in a few months.
I gotta show you some of this shit Caroline's booked. This is the goofiest shit. I'll show you after we shut it off. But
okay.
How the fuck?
Just tell me after. Let's.
No, I just like I know. I just had to.
Let's wrap it up so I can pee.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Guys, if you enjoyed this episode, please listen to our Little Mermaid episode. It was just as good, if not better than this.
Oh my god, so much fun.
I mean, this one was pretty epic. But check that out. We did Little Mermaid. I also did every Disney animated film, every Pixar film, every Disney remake. And I've covered the 3 Spider-Man made for TV films. Next week is Spider-Man 2. Maybe with Keanu Thompson. I'm not sure. It's unpredictable. We'll figure it out, but it's going to be Spider-Man 2. We're going to continue Tobey Maguire's adventures. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Ray Gootz. Follow the podcast, Gootz Disney Pod. Subscribe. And, please keep listening to us. Thank you so much for your support. We will see you next week with Spider-Man 2. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you.